Alright, here we go. So, we gotta listen to this banger music. Alright, this is Throne and Liberty. Yeah, my wife drugged me into playing it. I decided to. I'm on Wisperian server for now. I don't know if we'll switch. I'm in some random guild called Thorn Rose. Level 13. Let me see. Sound can pause for a minute. I'm gonna bring up Steam so I can tell you exactly how many hours. Get out of here. Bear with me. Throne of Liberty. 7 hours. That's how many hours that we've been in game. I decided I'm only gonna play this and listen to that music. It might be a little loud. I can't tell from. It's fine for me. If it's a little loud for you all, I apologize, but I love it. The music in this game is top-notch, fantastic. It'll probably die down here. It doesn't stay high. It's just when you first load in. And it kind of has ups and downs. So, I'm going to do a little first impressions video here. The game's not bad. There's people everywhere. I'm also not buying into the whole fear of missing out. Gotta go as fast as I can. That's why I put 7 hours in. I'm only level 13. Haven't done any PvP yet. Not very many events or whatever. The biggest event that I've done is like the wolf hunting contest. That's as far as we got. But I want to go over a few things, give my first impression, and I got a few quotes from my wife. I was writing stuff down as we were playing, things that she said. My first opinion is the game's not bad, but there's good and bad for me. So let me just kind of go over some stuff, and I can kind of see. I mean, the graphics are. Somebody's singing. The graphics are great. I already went over playing on Wisperian server, or Wisperian.
How long is this ugly statue going to remain here? This
I'm
guy's
playing.
been dead for ages.
I'm playing Sentinel. So staff, greatsword. That may change to greatsword staff. I haven't really decided yet.
See that smashed head?
I'm not looking up guides. I want to learn as I go, and I love theory crafting, and that is one of the things that I love about this game is that there's so many different builds that you can do. However, I don't like the split weapon thing, but they've made it work. Title. I don't know what titles do, so for now we're not going to have one. There are so many menus. Let's see. Notes. I'm looking up because I got my notes up. Wisperian server, tried to play the melee. I'm not sure yet. So the way this game works for anyone that is a viewer that hasn't played it and is curious, you get your 2 weapons, you got your main weapon, you have certain skills. It's tab target, you have 12 keys, and that's all you get. You got 6 passive slots as they unlock. You have an option to choose between passive skills of your main weapon and your offhand weapon, well, your secondary weapon, offhand, whatever you want to call it. So you fill your 6 slots. You kind of just want to pick something that complements each other and they work well together. So far, this is kind of what I'm doing. But I do have some qualms with the game, and this is one of the bad things. The descriptions are off. So, this passive skill, Mana Amp, right here on my screen, if you read it, says it increases max mana by 480 and max health by 1680. It's the reverse. It actually increases the max mana by 1680 and max health by 480. And it's a very big difference. I was hoping it was what it said and not what it did. It says 2 different things, but trust me, I tested it.
How long is this ugly statue going to remain here? This
Okay.
guy's been dead for ages.
Okay, buddy. I don't know which one of you is saying that, but that's enough of that. That's enough of that.
Smashed head? I did that. Me.
That's enough of that. So basically, you just pick your skills that you want and put them on the hotbar, and then you can use them. You get 2 choices, one from each weapon for defensive. Then you get a myriad of skills to choose from, 12 from each weapon, and you can only pick 12. So half of them you're not really going to use. By the time you hit 50, you just choose a kit that works best for you. I'm probably going to go, I'm leaning towards going like tank, crowd control heavy, and right now I'm spec'd a lot into damage because leveling up PvE, we know how MMORPGs work. Everything in-game is different than the journey to get there. So for right now, it's just damage, damage, damage. And then when I set into doing PvP stuff, I'm probably going, and like dungeon stuff, I'm probably going to be a staff tanker. And I may lean towards a greatsword as a main hand instead of a secondary. You can kind of look at your options by switching weapon skill sets here. But I don't know. Being a magical tank is always something I found cool. I like to have a staff. I like to do tons of crowd control, and that's what they have here. They have a bunch of ice skills to do crowd control, and it looks like a run-of-the-mill mage stuff. So you got fire, ice, and lightning. Fire is your main damage. Lightning kind of gives you kind of in the middle and amps your damage based on burning, and then ice is amps your damage some, but it's also crowd control. So I may go a great sword using Froster. I don't know. We'll see. And then of course, the synergy that I'm seeing right now is the great sword. I've got like stun skills and just movement from the great sword. I'm not using a lot of them because the melee, I prefer the ranged. So that's kind of how my build is going. It may be wrong. It may not be wrong. And then later on, you also can get skill specs to change your skills up, and they do different things. So the build's going to change over time. The theory crafting is part of the fun for me. And look at this, just one of the small things, just like the vines and stuff across the screen. The environment's it's just great. So I've kind of went over the good stuff and a couple of the bad things. So let me go through all the bad stuff. My first impressions, as soon as I logged in, I was writing stuff down as we were playing for the first few hours. Character creation. I don't like woke shit. Look, I'm a traditional dude. Body type selection instead of gender is kind of a put off. Keep that woke shit out of our games, and let us be traditional male, female, that kind of thing. The other thing is I couldn't really customize my character's body very well because I couldn't find the clothes toggle, so I couldn't toggle the armor off kind of see what it looked like underneath it. Maybe that just isn't a thing in this game, or maybe I just missed it. But either way, I scoured over it and I didn't see it. So that's kind of a my first thought on the graphics when I first loaded in, I think I loaded in nighttime, or I just was taking it into maybe the tutorial was just this way, but my first thoughts were it looked like an emo person or emo kid puked all over my screen. Everything was dark and dreary. I wasn't liking it, and I thought maybe it would change later on, and it looked all washed out. And then later on, I wrote a note down that night is the issue. It looks washed out at nighttime, and it's awful, but here during the day, it looks better, which is pretty cool. The other thing that I wrote down that was bad, there's too many menus too quickly. We needed some slow introduction to things. Yeah, the slow introduction would have been better. Another thing I don't like, I think the whole Animorph thing is bull. Give us actual proper mounts. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. I don't want to turn it into an animal every time I want to have movement, you know? I'm going up here to this little arena where the test dummies are. Oops, I went too far. Because I wanted to show off some of the combat real quick before I end this off. The other thing is the little Amatoid thing that follows you around is annoying as shit. I can't stand that little thing. It's worse than the Black Spirit in Black Desert Online. There's actually nobody up here, which is surprising. And there's going to be a lot of people that hate my next comment about this. Pay to win is apparent in absolutely everything. It all funnels you to the shop, and I hate that. I'm doing I'm completely free to play. I waited for the free to play release, and I'm gonna stay that way and see how far I can get. It is what it is, but the fact that you got a leveling log, and there's a premium that you can buy. You can buy a leveling log pass for 500 lucent. I don't know how much that is in dollars. There's
Did
also
you come to practice your defensive skills?
there's also a battle pass that you can buy. Another 500 lucent. There's the regular shop that has microtransactions. That's fine. So the battle pass, a premium leveling pass, those two things are no. Then there's the cosmetics. I'm fine with the cosmetics. That's great. Those look great. Standard rename and appearance change things. Those are fine. You expect those. Cosmetic stuff is always welcomed because it makes the company money, and it doesn't hurt anything. Like if somebody wants to pay to make their character look different. So it's $10. It's $10 for the passes. 500 lucent is $10.
Did you come to practice your defensive skills?
No, we came to turn you down.
Practice makes perfect. Try to block.
Sound, UI, music. Where's the ambient sounds?
Can you block this too?
Sound effects. Other
You've got
characters.
to time it right.
Whew.
You've got to time it right.
That better.
Try to block.
That's a little loud, I think. I'll adjust that as we go on. It's just one of those things, and it may not take effect until.
How about this?
Put it about 80.
Can you block this too?
If I can actually get it to go to 80. And there is no
Can you block
save
this too?
settings, so. I'm trying to shoot a video. Get out of here.
Forget to practice makes perfect. How about this?
I'll go back to that when I'm showing off combat. For now, I want to talk a little bit more about the pay-to-win aspect. The other thing is, you load real money into this thing, and you get lucent, and you can spend lucent on the auction house. I don't even know how to get to the auction house yet. It doesn't open up until it's probably grayed out. Yeah, you can't even get to it until level 40. But it's how you buy stuff from other players, and the reason that is such a pay-to-win thing is obviously you can buy gear, but this thing funnels into everything, everywhere. Materials, you need books to upgrade your skills. You got to craft them. Where to get this stuff? You do different things. You can also, let's see, you got to craft these things, but how do I show the recipe? I guess you can go there and do it. But anyway, take my word for it. You need these things here, these parchment. These are used in making the books. You can buy this stuff off of the auction house, or you can just go kill things. But it's just one of those things where you can spend real money and you can just progress a lot faster. And that is pay to win, regardless of what anyone wants to argue. It is. And that's not going to be a huge problem for the game. The game economy is all centered around that. That's fine. It's the things that are severely time gated, like the skill trait and the armor traits. How do I show this off? So there's going to be traits, so you can look underneath. I can't move my mouse, but if you look at the middle of the weapon menu, it says trait. Mine's partially unlocked. You feed gear into that to upgrade that. Well, you can buy the gear off the auction house. If you don't have real money or lucent to do that, then you're slow. You're going to have to farm gear through dungeons and fight monsters and stuff. So, somebody that pays money can go a lot faster. It's one of those things. That's the only thing that I really see a problem with. Now, the other thing is the best in slot equipment is locked behind, like, raids or world bosses, like the arch weapons. That is locked behind guild content, so you have to be in a huge guild, and it goes to the guild. And I am in a guild, so I can't show this. It's called distribution. Anytime you kill something as a guild, it goes here, and then the guild master can decide what to do with it. They can, I mean, you can see the different options here. So they can decide to give it to a guild member, or sell it to a guild member, or put it straight to the auction house, and then in the silver or gold or whatever you call this, solient coins go to, or lucent, whatever, goes to the guild, right? And then it gets distributed that way. So if you're not in a huge guild that controls the bosses and can win the boss fights, the in-game boss fights, and the weapons are very rare to drop anyway, you basically have to be part of a huge guild, and the guild master has to be nice enough to give something to you. So that's going to be a problem here in the West, I believe. There's going to be like one guild that alliances, and it's going to get dominated by one or two big guilds. And anybody that pays to win, if you have a bunch of those members, it's obvious what's going to happen. So they're either A, going to change it, or B, things are going to fizzle out and die very quickly. I don't see it lasting long the way that it is. Because the power gap, you know, right now is fairly even between free-to-play and pay-to-win people, because there's not much you can pay to win, because people haven't played the game long enough to have a bunch of stuff to sell. So paying to win doesn't really do much. But it'll start creeping, but whenever those arch weapons are a thing, and they start getting them, the power gap is gonna go up. And now if the guilds that get them decide to sell them on the auction house, I've heard things of them going for 1,000 or 3,000 real dollars, and that's a problem. So if you're just doing PvE stuff like my wife and I are doing, and you're not super worried about it, yeah, I mean, obviously we get the in-game. We're going to do what we can with the guild that we're in at the time, and we'll you know, we'll go ahead and do PvP and that kind of stuff. But I'm not going to go hardcore and try and like get inside this guild that's going to take over the server and everything. If I was, I would have went with the other video content creators and tried to get in with them. But I don't want to have a fear of missing out, or be put on a schedule where I have to do something constantly, or, you know, I just feel like the game runs my life, because BDO did that for a long time, and I started feeling very mentally, it wasn't good. It's why I've been gone for the last week, actually. My wife was off work, so, you know, we kind of just shirked responsibilities for a few days, and just had a few days with just us. And then yesterday when free-to-play came out for Throne of Liberty here, we decided to play it for several hours, and it was fun. But I'm not playing it without her. The only reason I'm on here now is to make this video and give some review. And I've also decided I'm not going to be making progression videos like I do in BDO on here. I will make videos on Throne of Liberty if people want to see them, but I'm not going to ruin the story. I'm not going to video us playing the game and going through all of the quest lines and everything. I think that's awful. The game is new, and people need to experience it for themselves. I may do some videos on my build guides and stuff, or maybe little guides here and there, you know, like, oh, here's how I run this dungeon, or that. But I'm not going to show any of the story content and just play through it like that. Originally was going to try and stream it, but I think it's better if I don't. I think people need to go and experience for themselves. There's no reason not to. It's free to play. It is fun. The story's a little you're basically, you know, main character energy, run-of-the-mill fantasy. You're the chosen one, solve everybody's problem type story. But it's not bad. Now back to the combat real quick. If you're used to Black Desert, it's a little clunky. It's not bad though. The thing that I have a problem with is, like, sometimes it won't.
Did you come to practice your defensive skills?
You shut up. It won't, like, switch targets quickly for me sometimes, and then, like, the same problem that tab target has always had. You can't get it to go to the right one when you want to, you know. and you can customize it. Like controller support is a thing, but you can't
Welcome.
even bring out your weapons unless you have something attacked. You got an E, which is like basically an auto attack, and then you got your 12 other skills. So I've got my buffs over here. This one is like this inner piece is like mana regen, and this frost smoke screen, it says it leaves an ice field and teleports the user towards the direction the user is facing. That's not
Did you come to practice
exactly
your defensive
correct.
skills?
It teleported me away
Can
from
you
the
block this
direction.
too? Don't forget to
So-
practice.
It's weird. And then you got the mana, and then this Da Vinci's Courage is basically like a self buff that lasts for a little while for you and your party. It's like a health buff, and it comes from the Greatsword. I kind of got that on there for now, just because I don't have anything else to put on there. Some of my heart bar is pretty low because some of these skills I just don't want to use, like these melee skills from the sword. I just don't want to use, but I'm using the ones that pertain to like movement and crowd control for protection. And then the passive skills are what I'm interested in the melee tree. But as far as the staff skills go, I got all them slotted currently. Like I said, this is the mana regen. I got lightning and I got the frost smoke screen. So you got a couple of I call them like defensive or self buff skills, and then the rest are damage. So we've got serial fire bombs, infernal wave, and chain lightning, and those are the first three on my thing. The serial fire bombs, you press 1 and you can do it 3 times. And I got passive skill that kind of does that. It puts burning on the target, and then lightning consumes increases damage based on burning, and then so does the infernal wave, which is kind of like an AoE. And then you got your auto attack. Now your Q is your block. It's like a parry.
Did you come? Practice makes perfect.
See, when she hit, I hit Q,
Don't forget, practice makes perfect.
and then it parries, and I missed a ton.
Can you block this too?
So you got a little bit of an action hybrid combat.
forget to
I'm not a huge
practice.
fan of the hybrid. You can't move around with some of these skills. Later on you can when you spec them, but I have not gotten high enough level to unlock skill specs. I know that some of these you can move along. Now the skills you can level up, you got books to level them up. They go to 5 and then they upgrade to the next tier, and I think there's multiple tiers all the way up to like legendary, so you can level your skills up a bunch. And of course you can see if I was to level mine up. This one I just been pouring my books into. It's the main skill that I use, and it's level 5 and it goes up to 1, but I think it increases to like rare variety instead of uncommon variety. And then you see you get damage increase, burning increase. It's like a damage over time skill. So I don't know. I've just been pouring my books into my skills. Eventually I'll have them all leveled up, and I may
did you
not
come
even
to
be.
practice your defensive skills?
I may not even be using these same skill loadout when I get to in-game, because I see some down here that are later on. Like Ice Spear looks cool. Icebound Tomb looks cool. High Focus is a self buff. Judgment Lightning looks pretty fantastic. I don't know if I'll use Salvation Chain. That'll be like a PvP skill because it pulls people to you. Infernal Meteor is definitely like a huge nuke that I'll be using, and I may just use Fireball Barrage. I don't know. I may not have any great sword
did you
skills
come
by
to
the time I'm
practice
done
your
with it,
defensive
but we'll see.
skills?
I'm kind of going for a staff with the great sword support. To support my skills and basically protect myself when something gets close to me. I use Stunning Blow to stun it, and then I have a precision dash. I can dash to things and then dash back to it. That's basically how I'm using the greatsword so far. Plus for the passive, because it increases my health, and the greatsword itself increases my health by almost 1,000, 970.
Did you come to practice your defensive skills?
So it's pretty good. I like it. Besides having a staff and greatsword swap, those are my 2 favorite weapons in any game. I love the broadswords. Maybe it's because I descendant of like Scottish Vikings and just like the broadswords, but
Did
I
you
don't know,
come to
maybe.
practice your defensive skills?
And I always like the magic, like the mage staff. The staff was cool. So it's like a Gandalf build basically. It's like a big sword and staff, and I wish you could dual wield them at the same time, but it's not. It's like a hot swap between the two. And here's what this skill does.
Welcome.
And then you got a stun, and it pulls it out. The sword does the skill and then goes back to the staff, especially for like the Q and stuff. So it's pretty cool. But that's what I got for the combat there.
Did you come to practice your defensive
It's fun,
skills?
but it's tab target up, and I prefer tab target. My hands hurt. BDO combat, I don't grind a lot because it sucks for me. So the tab target is nice. And the combat's not really an issue for me, like it might be for other people.
Skills?
Let's get away from this annoying, nice lady. not my first choice of words. All right, so I kind of went over the bad, and I went over the combat, and now my goods. I'll do a short list because I don't really have that much wrong with the game, other than the couple of first annoying things that I ran into for thought, and then like the pay to win, my fears for that. Now the good character creation, there's tons of options. It's cool. I don't know. Does my character look like me? I tried. I wasn't gonna do the photo upload. Another good thing, the graphics are nice. I like them. I love the medieval feel. See what I mean by the washed out world though? Everything's like purple at night. It's just kind of eh. I prefer the daytime when it's green. Give me some lush jungles. The different biomes are pretty cool that I've ran into so far. We went to the beach and a pasture, and then we were up here in the plains where there's like a huge wolf hunting contest, and the fast travel's nice. You got waypoints that you unlock around the world, and you can just travel to them. As long as you're under level 30, they're free. And then whenever you're higher than 30, it costs you a little bit of the world currency, the solient or whatever that is. The music is just, I could just sit here and listen to it. I love music in games. That's why I always have my music on. And you just take a second. This is just the ambient music in Castleton, like the first town you get to. It is just so good. And then, of course, every area has its own music. The cinematics are top-notch. They're very good. They fit in with the graphics. It's not like, oh, high quality cinematics and then dumbed down gameplay. No, it's all the same. It looks great. Happy with that. The questing, the other thing, they're kind of generic. I touched on that, but they fit in the story. They're not overwhelming to where you have to kill like hundreds of monsters. You know, it's like, oh, go do. One of them was I had to go collect stuff from like crabs on the beach or something, and he had 20. I killed like 2 or 3, and it was like a loot pinata, and it just exploded, and we got the quest done in like 3 kills because we got so many. So it's not overwhelming. Like a lot of games, they'll BDO, you got to go kill 5,000 monsters to do a quest. Now it's not like that. They're a little bit generic, but it's good. It's a good generic. It just feels like a traditional MMORPG. I think if this game were released like 5 to 10 years ago, it would have done. It would have been massive. It's like the it's like the emo version of World of Warcraft. not to poke it, that type of thing, but yeah. The other thing is the menus are. This is both a good and a bad point. And the last thing I want to really touch, the menu feels mobile-ish. The menus are flat and light, but there's a lot of them. I mean, just look at all these different things. Mirror boutique, change your appearance. You got different morphs, which instead of mounts, you're basically an anamorph, and you have different ones, and they sell different skins for them. You can unlock different ones by playing the game. I currently have this little this thing, whatever the shadow perpuma thing is from playing the game. The glide, I'm a bald eagle, and then there's a couple of different ones there. But there's just all kinds of stuff to do. It's almost as bad as a mobile game, and I have a problem with that. It's just too much all at once. But I'll get used to it, and we're having fun with the game overall. So like the small things that I've found that are aren't that big of a The only thing that scares me, are the in-game best in slot weapons being locked behind guild content. So I don't know. We'll see how that goes. The other thing, there's one big thing I want to talk about before I close off. But before we get there, I wrote down some of my wife's comments as she was playing while we were playing through. The first thing she told me, and of course, her computer's kind of behind me diagonally over there, that way. So when we're playing, we're just like right here in the same room, so I can hear her when she says stuff. So I got 3 quotes from her that I thought stuck out to me. First off, she's playing longbow wand, so she's like full healing support, and it works because I'm kind of doing a tanky magic damage build, and she's doing like full support long range damage build. So partying together makes things very easy and nice. We'll probably be able to just pick up either a full tank or several DPS for dungeons later on, and it'll be fun. I've also limited myself to only making progress and playing, other than like recording this when she can. There I go, fidgeting with stuff that's on the desk. It was a comb. Gotta keep the nice and smooth, but ADHD kicking in. So I'm limiting myself to only making progress, so we stay near the same level and we're going to do the same things, and I'm only playing when she does. That way I don't get burnt out, and we have good content, and she doesn't feel left behind. And that way, if she's able to play and I can't, then I don't feel left behind. So we're only playing together, other than, just doing some generic things. I think she actually out-leveled me because I was doing skill builds while she was killing some monsters yesterday, so I think she's a little bit ahead of me. What is this guy doing standing on top of me? Teleporting. See ya. Disappeared. But anyway, so her first 3 quotes. The first thing she said to me was 10 out of 10 for having controller support. Video controller support is kind of janked a little bit, and she has problems with that sometimes. So she really likes the controller support built by the devs in this. It's just like that. And so that was her first major thing she knows, because she likes controller. I don't. I prefer the keyboard, just because in an MMORPG I like to be able to do all the menus and stuff and not have to like hold the Xbox controller. I got one laying around here somewhere that I can use, but I don't know. I got a problem with my hands. After a little bit of doing holding the controller, the side of my hand goes numb, and then it's just not comfortable. So I have to be careful with that. Her next quote is, "The Amatoy is so cute." She really liked the little guy to begin with, Helpy or whatever his name is, this little black spirit looking thing. I don't know. It's like a child's doll. It looks very strange to me, and it seems out of place. It's just very strange. But she thinks it's cute. Whatever. And then the last thing she said, "This game is going to be a problem for me because I like it." So she's a little game addict, I think, at times. And she's, yeah, she would probably just sit here 24/7 playing if she was able to. So that's going to be a problem. But, either way, those are things. Now, we both played Terra whenever it was out, like 10 years ago. It wasn't quite 10 years ago. It was like 2016, 2017, somewhere around there. But yeah, this game reminds me so much of Terra. Just the menus, the combat, the way it works. You got the traditional tab target, but then you got hotkeys and you got some action in there. It's just like Terra. It reminds me so much of it. And the missions and the quests, and just the world ambience, even the skill slotting and stuff, the menus, the like looking at these skill what do you call it, descriptions, they just look like Terra. And then you have like the specializations Terra had the same thing. You had little circles that amplified your skills. I played a Berserker with an axe on there, and you had little things that amplified, and it had one skill that was your axe-based skill, and it would one-shot almost anything if you spec'd it right. And I just remember the little circles on there. You had to buy books or find them from dungeons so you could upgrade and get the right slots in there, and it just reminds me of Terra so much. And that makes me happy. I loved Terra, and it just died for no reason at all. The game just went poof. Well, there was a reason. It was pay-to-win bullshit is why. Because they made choices that made it pay to win. There was no way to progress as free to play very, very easily. So, you know, people just left. They just get tired of that. I hope that this system in this game will keep it going. The Lucent over the auction house is not a problem. I played Forsaken World before that worked that way. The only problem I see is that, like I said, it's the best in slot weapons locked behind guild stuff, and then being able to sell them on the marketplace. Then that'll be the only way to get them as a single player. I think that's going to be a problem, but we'll see. If they keep the game exactly the way it is and don't add any more pay to win, I think it'll be okay. And it won't fall like Terra did, but this game reminds me of Terra so freaking much, and that's a good thing. I liked Terra. I love the battlegrounds in Terra. What was it called? The stronghold fights. We would climb on the castle and guard the ladders while, or you guard the castle gate, or if you were on the attacking side, you try to burn the gate down and do PvP. It was so much fun. I really like that. Now, I wasn't geared enough to be, like, top of the line by any means, but it was fun. Now, I haven't looked up anything for this game, really, aside from a couple of small questions here and there, like how many levels the skills have, to see if I need to, like, farm stuff or what I need to do. So I don't know, but if the Terra talking about Terra reminded me of this. I will drop the greatsword and go axe and battle axe if they put a big two-handed like battle axe in the game. I love the two-handed battle axe. It is probably my... Hey, look. I'm level 13, but... Oh. I wonder if we open this enough, if it'll... You see that glitch? That's weird. The greatsword is one of my favorite weapons. I know I don't play it a ton in some of the current games that I play, but a two-handed battle axe is just my jam. I like it too. So I like the big two-handed battle axe, the big two-handed broadsword, and then being a mage. Those are the three things I gravitate towards in games. So being a dual weapon for now, staff greatsword is the way I'm going to go. And then if they do battle axe, I will probably replace the greatsword and get battle axe, depending on the skills that come with it. You know, Terra was my go-to for the longest time because I could play the Berserker that had a two-handed battle axe, and it was universal, and it was overpowered. But you know, I didn't have to be super geared, and if I got somebody just right from behind, it would just one-shot them. I liked it. But the problem with Terra was there was too much desync. Hopefully in this game there won't be that much desync, and it will press forward, and it will do well, and we'll have fun playing it. And when we get to 50, we'll have some skill guides as I learn things, and we'll do some dungeons along the way and record that and have some content out for that to supplement the channel. I've still got BDO running in the background. By any means, it's not too still fishing. Path of Exile is still on the hard drive. I still plan on playing it, but this is the new shiny toy, and so for now we're gonna play with the new shiny toy. Besides, I like to play games with my wife, and she's a lot of fun to play with, and so that's what we're gonna do. She wants to play this, and I'm having fun playing it, so that's what I'm gonna do for the foreseeable future. That's not to say I'm not gonna let BDO just be gone. To be fair though, maintenance, there were no patch notes really to speak of. It was very hard for me to log back in there and set up my fishing, but I did do it, and I do have fishing running for the fishing event, and we'll see how that goes. I don't want to drop it completely, but I also don't want to jump in up to my neck in this game yet. I'm very skeptical of the pay to win, so, but I'm having fun so far, and that's my comprehensive first experience. You know, it's long, 40 minutes, but I hope it gave you enough info from me on what I see so far. There's really no reason not to try it if you like MMORPGs. It's free to play. Don't spend money on it until you're sure. There isn't really any need to or reason to unless you just like the cosmetic stuff. Yeah, you can get, I don't really know how to sort this, so you can get different morphs like, oh look, when I'm running I can turn into a lightning puma for 750 lucents. So that's like $12 or $12.50. Same with it. Look, when I swim I have a turtle, and when I glide, so you can jump off of stuff and glide. Now look at the water on the screen. There's also different effects. It says you are wet. It changes how my skill works. See how my skill is like glowing? Decreases cooldown by 20% if the user is wet. So I got like a little like water animation over the lightning thing. It's because I'm wet. I get 20% less cooldown. Cool. I want to say you can swim in this game. You can't dive underwater, but the swimming, you turn into like a little sea otter or whatever. We were kind of laughing about that, and that was pretty good. That's all I got for an overall thing. I will touch one other thing. You can grind monsters and level up, but it's not like Black Desert at all. So if you're coming from Black Desert and you think that it's going to be the same, you're not. It's not. You're doing questing, you're doing area quests, it's kind of like Guild Wars 2. You got aerial quests, so you got your adventure, which are main story quests. They give you experience and rewards, and then you got exploration quests, which are kind of in the area where your main quests go. And then you got collections to where they're just like books and stuff that you find in the different areas. Little points of interest to interact. There are also some life skills. I haven't done them yet. They're not great, I don't think, but there's cooking, fishing, and expedition, whatever that means. I'm guessing that's like gathering or something. I don't know. But I do know that we were able to gather like some herbs and rocks when you run into them. I don't really know where they're at yet. I haven't explored enough to know locations, but I know you got to have some of that stuff to make some of the items you need, so that's cool. And there's crafting through NPCs. You can make armor and stuff, so it's pretty in-depth, but it feels like an in-depth mobile game on the surface. Like I said, it's like Terra. It feels very much 2010's MMORPG, and that's not a bad thing. I miss those days, you know. I think that's why it's grabbing so many people. As long as the pay to win doesn't get out of hand, I think we're going to have a lot of fun. So I'll quit reiterating. I'll get out of here. I've got stuff I got to do this afternoon. This is already late, and I apologize. So you guys have a good one, and I hope you found this little first impressions review helpful. And as always, see you in the next one.